53 hours. 53 hours. It's got to be gone, right? It's got to all be gone. We give them that piss just one.
And I'm sure there's stuff that you can take that supposedly washes it out faster, like any kind of drug test. You know, like weed tests. I remember, I think it was like cranberry juice or something. You just constantly drink.
There's certain diuretics for sure. Certain diuretics in mask steroids. It's one of the reasons why they're illegal.
Article that came out about an hour ago looks like on Bloody Elbow. That's not like any updated news or anything really. It's a PED expert who's known in the track and field world as known for supplying performance-enhancing drugs to them. His name is Angel Hernandez, also known as Memo. Not that that matters a whole lot, but if anybody knows him.
What Angel Heredia Hernandez. Yeah. But Angel Heredia, is that the same guy that used to train Manny Pacquiao? Or no? Or is it, who the fuck did... There was a guy that was like a really popular... God damn it, I know I got his name wrong.
But
strength and conditioning coach.
He's saying that the test that they do tests for 6 different particular metabolites, and
right.
One of those can last up to 7 weeks. And then to skip down to here, he says that one of those metabolites can look like the same structure as the Turinabol. And it may or may not. It doesn't mean that it's not Turinabol or whatever, but it could be from a bad supplement that he took during the training period that lasted in his system and ended up looking like it.
Ooh, interesting.
But that's
listen to this quote. Listen to this quote. If he would have been using way before then, he eventually would have been positive on the 21-day testing before the fight, but he was negative. Then he came out positive. Frankly, the testing itself, it lacks of credibility for a lot of reasons. We could go on, and I could be very specific in terms of chemistry, but I don't want to mislead the people that listen. It's just the fact that they are detecting 6 different metabolites, and one of them stays there longer than 7 weeks. But the most intriguing part is that some of those metabolites are not really confirmed that they are actually coming from that, how do you say that? Turinabol? Turinabol structure. All right, but USADA, who's doing this, they know what the fuck they're doing, and they're not going to come out with a result unless they're super sure that that's what they're tested positive for. I don't know if this guy's right.
That's what I don't know either. He's just sort of speculating, I would imagine. I don't know if he wasn't there either. But
I tell you, I talked to Jeff Nowitzki off stage, off mic, on mic. I talked to him around the arena. He's about as honest as it comes when it comes to like handling these situations with these athletes. They're catching people, and the people they're catching we're using. There's... the way they're doing it is very thorough. The way they're handling it is very thorough. And there hasn't been anybody with a credible story that came forth that didn't have something in their system that they weren't supposed to have in their system. We haven't had a case of that yet, as far as I know. I think almost all cases have been either tainted supplements or someone getting caught, whether it's taking a diuretic or someone getting caught taking a steroid. There's a lot going on like that. And he's got... they have a team of people that are just constantly checking people that might be cheating.
I guess you have to also say it's where there's smoke, there's fire. How many fighters never have a steroid, in them,
There's a few, like BJ Penn. I'm sure there's, I used to think it would be John Fitch, but then John Fitch tested positive. He was, but he was getting older, and he was fighting in the World Series of Fighting. Wasn't in the UFC anymore, and and he might have been dealing with some serious injuries. Needed to pay his bills through fighting. Like, I don't begrudge anybody, especially when they're not even in the UFC. And the testing that they do in a lot of these organizations is like, there's a lot of organizations that have guys that are pretty much openly using. And what they do is they have these guys fight on like Indian reservations or fighting weird states that have an athletic commission that doesn't really adhere to the rules, or doesn't have to, and it's not very strict. But especially the Indian reservation thing, Native American reservations, they do whatever the fuck they want, man. They're a country inside our country. But USADA, they look up your ass, man. They look up your ass. They come get you. They come get you, and they wake you up. Hey, man. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm going to look at your dick, and I'm going to watch piss come out of your dick. It's going to go in this cup, and then you can go back to sleep. They wake you up. Hey, man. It's no joke. And to see a guy like John with just spectacular comeback fight. You know, I mean, like a phoenix, he rises from the ashes. He gave this really classy post-fight speech. He won by just overwhelming devastation. I mean, it was a beautiful combination with the left high kick, then a series of shots. Daniel goes down, he just beats him unconscious in a spectacular performance. And then to find out that it's tainted by some fucking gross steroid they were sneaking in. Is it either that or, again, the other one, which is almost equally gross, that somebody gave it to him? Like somebody gave him some, hey man, hey champ, have this Gatorade, champ. You know, hey champ, I got your Gatorade, champ. Crack. You know,
and they're very accessible, these fighters. You know, they're I mean, they're just going to the gyms like you go to a lot of times.
Hey man, if you're not fighting John, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. Great guy. People love him. I think that we don't know. You know, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad. But one day, you know, one day they'll have it eradicated. But by then, I think there's going to be some new methods. I think they're going to have genetic methods. That's the next one. They're not pretty close, but they're pretty close to being able to alter embryos and to be able to change like genes in people, maybe even shut off dangerous genes, like genes for Alzheimer's and different diseases that people have. They might be able to literally create the tools to edit that in the embryonic stage. This is something called CRISPR. And that's one of the things that they're using to alter genes. It's like start CRISPR, I think it is.
Did you see the video of someone used it to make like neon green beer or something like that?
They use CRISPR to make neon green beer?
Yeah.
What did they use? Like, so they did something to the wheat?
Awesome. they made a new color chocolate. The first time in like 100 years they made a new chocolate.
Oh, we're fucking around with nature. Yeah. God. That's why Hurricane Irma is going to eat Florida.
They also recently took the West Nile virus and pumped it into rats, and it killed cancer, which is crazy. So you're taking one crazy thing and killing another crazy thing with it.
What?
Yeah.
The West Nile virus cures cancer?
Yeah. Well, in mice
shit.
or whatever. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of shit that we eat that animals can't even touch or they die. This biohacker, what does it say again? Wants to spur a genetic engineering revolution with glowing beer.
Oh, that seems healthy. Like I'm worried about aspartame.
Genetically engineered yeast.
Imagine how bad your pee smells. Like think about how bad your pee smells when you drink or you eat asparagus. Cutting edge genetic engineering technique, CRISPR. Yeah. Wow. That's how they did it. That's insane. That's insane.
He sells the kits too, apparently.
That is so crazy. You can buy a kit to genetically engineer through CRISPR your wheat to glow.
It's pretty badass.
That's insane.
It's got to be bad for you.
It's totally got to be bad for you or good. I'm waiting for one of these fucking problems that we have to turn us into superheroes, because that was what we always saw in the comic books, right? Every time there was a nuclear spill, dude came out of it with X-ray vision. Right?
But the government also immediately found the guy and took him and hit him and did tests on him so the public wouldn't be scared.
Tried to, bro.
Well,
tried to. Most of the time they were free.
It already happened. Autism. Now they're like some of the best like Navy coders. And
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's without a doubt some super genius people with autism. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that are on that spectrum, you know, autism and also Asperger's and a lot of different disorders that allows them to like focus on stuff with laser like precision. Their brains work different. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of thought to that. That's like the next style of person, that like we're so connected to our devices and to the internet and to this, like we're gonna like lose our interaction with each other and lose our emotions, and that it might manifest itself through a series of like weird errors, like a disease or a disorder, and that disorder becomes favorable. And that favorable disorder of just not really getting attached to things, just focusing on your work, like a drone, like some sort of crazy robot, number crunching robot. Like it's 100% possible that we know there are some people like that, right? So if there are some people that are just super genius coders that just zone out and can code like crazy and they're kind of on the spectrum, if there's one of those, there could be 1,000. If there's 1,000, there could be 1,000,000. If there's 1,000,000, they could start breeding and making a bunch of other ones like that. And maybe it's something you pass on your genes. Maybe we pass on more in our genes than we know. Next thing you know, you got robot people, like, who slowly but surely integrate with our chips and fucking different, Qualcomm chips in your brain. Your phone is now a part of your body. Robot people with abilities to call each other and connect online. And like, what if what if nature's trying to engineer our humanness out of us? Slowly morph it, change it, make it more compatible to staying in front of computer screens constantly, crunching numbers.
People's hands start growing different because everyone's holding cell phones their whole life.
Dude.
Their eyes get farther apart, like Chance the Rapper.
You know what fascinates me? When people have autistic kids, then the kids show massive improvement from a change of diet, from cannabis oil for a lot of kids. Massive improvement, stop their seizures, makes them start interacting with other kids better. I wonder if that is what, I don't think they know a specific cause for autism or any of the spectrum disorders, right?
No. I mean, I always just blame cell phones and Wi-Fi.
I've also heard, man, that could be, right? I've also heard gut bacteria be blamed for a bunch of them.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, they were saying that a lack of probiotics in the diet, poor gut bacteria, could be blamed for certain issues and disorders that some people have.
I found neurons in the gut, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes,
yeah.
I mean, if those two things are true, that makes sense.
Well, if your gut bacteria is essentially like a community, right? You have like a community of flora inside your stomach, and the more bad stuff you put in there, and then also like other people would be way more susceptible than some. Like just like today, there's people that can eat things and maybe have mild allergies. And then there's someone like you or I that could eat the exact same thing and have no issue with it whatsoever. That's got to be the same with gut flora. It's got to be the same with the... I mean, we're so biologically variable. But that's just a step in a long process of people. I mean, like, you look at like super genius autistic people. As far as we know, I mean, they might have existed hundreds of years ago, but we don't know of them, right? We're just guessing. This is a fairly recent thing. What if it becomes something even different in 100 years from now? What if it's these people that know how to read each other's minds, and only they can do it? And they can all read each other's minds. They can probably read our minds, but we can never read theirs. And they're just talking to each other. And we're like, hey, what are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? Like, we're going to be left behind. Like, our stupid genes, we're going to be left behind. And these people without... What if, like, war just stops? Because autistic people just have no desire to go to war. They're like, no, just rather sit around here and code.
Yeah.
Or whatever the next stage is. Like, if autism or Asperger's or any of these things are a new thing, I don't know if they are, but if they are a new thing, just imagine what another new thing could be that takes it to another place and a next level.
People that don't keep their VR helmets on all the time. Like, you're living the real world? What's wrong with you?
Well, you got to think, man, if evolution is true, and I'm assuming it is, we used to be super primitive, right? We used to be some sort of primitive primate thing. And then there was a bunch of different versions of us, and we branched out, and we were the most successful, and we made it to today. So that means we changed. So why would we assume we're done? That's crazy. We're getting more input now than ever before, and we're assuming we're done? We're not even the same people from the 1950s. We're not. We're totally different. All right, gentlemen, we're live with a freshly fed Uriah Faber. Yeah. No more dieting, no more weight cutting. Is this his mic on?
Hello?
Check. There we go. Now
there it is.
Yeah, just pull that sucker up to you.
Damn it.